Hello and welcome to an introduction to raw feeding your dog by Pawz. We hope you will enjoy discovering more about feeding your dog in the most natural and healthy way. Raw feeding is certainly not new, and many dog lovers have been sourcing and preparing raw meals for their pets for decades. This approach is now a mainstream feeding choice for millions of dog owners across the world. This reflects a desire to include fewer processed foods in a dog's diet and has a focus on health and longevity. Raw feeding does still promote much passionate debate, and so it's key to understand some of the facts surrounding this subject so you can make the right choices for your dog. The first step is to do a little research into understanding the history of dogs. This helps us to understand why a raw diet is simply made for them. Domestic dogs may now come in many different shapes and sizes, but the ancestor for each and every one of them is the wolf. Did you know, for example, that our beloved dogs share 99% of their DNA with wolves? Wolves thrive as they eat almost every part of the prey that they catch. This may include, for example, the flesh, heart, liver, lungs and rib cage. They also enjoy wind-fallen fruits and vegetables, and they'll even dig up root vegetables or steal birds' eggs to enjoy. Put simply, our dogs descended from wolves, and they naturally have bodies that have developed through evolution to eat a raw diet. Based on this known history, why would it then be more appropriate to feed our dogs a bowl of crunchy biscuits? If we are honest, dry food is very convenient for us as humans with busy lives. It's not, however, the likely choice for our dogs. Today, there is much evidence that raw remains the best diet for their health and well-being. So let's take a look at what remains the most common way to feed our dogs: dry food or kibble. This is a highly processed foodstuff, as the ingredients have to be turned into the small crunchy morsels we recognise. The ingredients are often heated to an unnaturally high temperature. This understandably has a detrimental impact on the nutritional content of the food. This type of food often contains chemical additives and preservatives. Did you know also that within food standard regulations, it only has to contain a minimum of just 4% meat? Most kibble contains large amounts of fillers, such as carbohydrates and gluten. Dogs have a limited ability to digest these. Hence, they may start to feel somewhat poorly after eating them. Dogs are designed to process proteins and fats, and so when they take in large amounts of unrequired carbohydrates, for example, their bodies turn them into sugars. Raised sugar levels are unfortunately linked to health issues such as obesity, pancreatitis, diabetes, inflammatory conditions such as arthritis, as well as immune-mediated disease and even cancer. It's also important to note that grain-free foods still contain large amounts of starch, including those at the base of sweet potato, pea protein or even quinoa. This unfortunately also raises blood sugar levels in dogs. These fillers can also commonly lead to inflammation of the small intestine, to cause diarrhea, a poor dry coat, and even itchy and sore paws. Such fillers mean that some dogs cannot absorb their food properly. This leads to a general lack of well-being and may even have a negative impact on behaviour as a result. We do of course have to mention what happens at the other end of your dog too. It's not a nice subject, but it tells us a lot about our dog's health. Having lots of fillers in a dog's food often leads to large amounts of faeces being produced, and it may be rather loose too. This is not a sign of good health. Now let's take a look at raw feeding and the very positive facts about what happens when we provide our dogs with a healthy and tasty raw diet. Feeding this type of food to dogs has become synonymous with the acronym BARF. This stands for bone and raw food. The benefits of raw feeding were extensively researched by an experienced vet, Dr. Ian Billinghurst. He soon started to appreciate how a raw food diet could significantly improve the health and well-being of dogs he observed. His book is still available today and provides a very useful introduction to the topic. Raw feeding your dog means no more piles of little brown biscuits. Instead, you will provide a delicious range of fresh ingredients, including meat, bones, fish, offal and eggs, as well as a selection of fresh fruit and vegetables. It's also important to note that raw feeding is a truly low starch and gluten-free diet. Just one little note, do please remember never to feed your dog grapes, onions, raisins or nuts. These are actually toxic for dogs. If ever you are in doubt, please check. There are so many positive benefits to feeding a balanced and healthy raw diet. Dogs have shiny and glossy coats gleaming with health. Raw-fed dogs benefit from the natural abrasion of bones and chewing in general. This means that they usually have better dental health with tartar-free teeth and strong gums. Weight can easily be managed with small adjustments to portion size. Raw-fed dogs are generally healthier too, as they benefit from reduced sugar levels in their diet. Dogs' bodies can absorb so much more of the raw food as well, so you will be pleased to hear that there is also much less waste and less scooping for you. Undoubtedly, the most important benefit of all is how much dogs enjoy devouring their raw food. Raw-fed dogs are happy and content, leaving no food behind. Raw feeding also allows them to chew, and this is essential for mental stimulation and calmness. Now let's take a look at a few common questions about raw feeding. Firstly, which dogs are suitable to have raw diets? The answer is all of them. Big or small, old or young, all dogs can benefit from the enjoyment of raw food. Dogs may also be fed raw during pregnancy and when weaning from 4 weeks of age. Here is a 12-week-old puppy enjoying a chicken wing which he has been fed since 4 weeks of age. The next question is whether dogs need to be transitioned slowly onto the new food type. The answer is no. As the dog's body is designed to eat raw food, a change can be carried out immediately and without a gradual introduction. Probably the most common question raised is about the risk of bacteria in raw food. So here comes the science bit. The dog's digestive system is highly developed to cope with bacteria. Even when the food enters the mouth, the body starts to address any bacteria present. A dog's saliva contains lysozyme, which is able to start breaking down bacteria immediately. The stomach itself contains a high level of hydrochloric acid, and this breaks down food and kills bacteria. This means also that dogs can digest lumps of bone and hide. A dog's intestines are also the shortest of all mammals, and this is a clever design feature, as raw food doesn't sit in the body for too long and waste is safely passed out. Finally, the dog also has an effective regurgitation system, so if something doesn't agree, it soon comes back up again. A lettuce is just as likely to contain bacteria as a piece of fresh meat. Simply read the package instructions. Defrost the food in a leak-proof container or in leak-proof packaging. Wash your hands and utensils after use. Disinfect surfaces after preparation and dispose of all food waste. These are exactly the same rules that apply when handling food to feed our families. So do you feel a little confused about where to start? You may even feel somewhat squeamish about preparing raw meat for your dog. We understand this, and to make life easy, many food manufacturers now offer excellent quality raw food in complete and convenient meals. At Pawz, we stock a range of prepared foods from DEFRA-approved companies. These offer balanced meals containing various meats, offal, bone and fish, as well as a fresh range of fruit and vegetables. The food consists of mincemeat, ready prepared to help you feed your dog a balanced diet. Simply defrost according to instructions and feed. There are also lots of frozen extras such as turkey necks, chicken carcasses, chicken wings and duck necks for you to defrost and for your dogs to enjoy. We stock Albion meats, Manifold Valley meats, Durham animal feeds, Nurture them naturally, Totally natural pet products, as well as premium raw. Adult dogs should be fed 2 to 3% of their body weight in raw food. This is of course just a guide, and you can feed more or less depending on your dog's weight. Remember also to consider exercise routines. Very active dogs need more food. Older dogs, taking more rest, will need somewhat less. Puppies do not need a specific raw food and can be fed the same as adults. The amount of food needed takes a slightly different approach, as pups need a larger proportion of food for growth and development. Please ask for assistance and to see our puppy feeding guide for more information. We do hope you have found this video to be helpful and informative. We look forward to your visit to Pawz very soon, and to be able to help you to feed your dog a delicious and healthy raw diet.